Hello, happy investors. Riv here with a couple surefire investment opportunities for you. And we want to start with a big winner. It's Optic. They start the week 4-0, but are about to shoot the gauntlet. So unless you're seeing Team Green driving all the way to Detroit, you may want to pat yourself on the back for being the prophet of profit and get out while the getting's good. From my way of thinking, it's time to cash in those chips before the portfolio hits that green wall. So turning to the defending champions now, Team Liquid. They're sitting at 2-2, and while you may be rushing to liquidate your liquid stock, don't do anything drastic like Ted back here. Come on, Ted! You're lurking, it's weird. Out of here. Now, Liquid may be down and out, but now another week to shake off that MSI hangover could be just what the doctor ordered to send their stocks back on the upward trajectory. Golden Guardian's future looks bright after they brought C9 back down to earth, and even though not all that glitters is gold, the band of buddies might be the real deal. Their schedule looks like smooth sailing this week, but only buy in if you've got a high tolerance for risk, because next week they're going to face off against TL and TSM. Good luck out there, friends. Remember, all this advice comes with a very modest brokerage fee of 5% for your Opel Riv.
Thank you, Riv. Ted, get your head in the game. We'll see how much of the advice, though, that these guys take in our next edition of the LCS stock market. Of course, we must start with the team's valuations based on the first 2 weeks of play. So let's take a look at the movement as Riv encapsulated Optic, one of the biggest winners, plus 85, shooting up the standings. A couple other winners, though, in Clutch, Counterlogic, and Golden Guardians, while the rest take losses, and Cloud9 with that smooth even. You don't see that very often.
I mean, I was on the 100 Thieves bandwagon, and seeing that number drop even lower makes me like, ugh, can I risk it again?
How low is it gonna go?
It's so cheap.
I mean, what did they lose? They lost 37 points for 0-4.
Look how cheap that is, though.
You can buy so many of those.
They're almost half of Cloud9. You almost get 2 for 1.
It's pretty crazy.
What a deal. 2 for 1 of garbage.
Pretty insane. All right, well, with these numbers in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at the portfolios. Start with Mark's over there. You took some heavy losses in weeks 1 and 2, as you mentioned. I think you're down about, what, 500?
Yeah, I'm down roughly 500, but this time around, I'm actually going to go for Echo Fox because they don't have too tough of a schedule, and they are bringing in Phoenix and Apollo, who I have a little bit more faith in, and so I think they'll be able to grab a number of wins, and Team Liquid's kind of my control. I think they will still make a little bit of a comeback. You can see their next 4 matches. FlyQuest is struggling right now. 100 Thieves and Clutch also can be very winnable games. CLG today, it's something that I think that they can grab a number of wins, and I'm hoping that the Phoenix and Apollo helps right the ship a little bit.
Yeah, playing on that strength of schedule as perhaps the roster move. Kobe, what's your assessment of these investments?
I think he's underestimating the FlyQuest because even though FlyQuest have lost 3 games, I think they're going to be a more difficult opponent.
It's on there, but it's not part of the actual week. It's these 4. So the FlyQuest Optic's the tough.
Oh, that's looking way ahead.
Yeah, I'm not buying them then.
Sell. All right, we're moving on to Kobe's. Let's take a look here. I think you as well suffered some heavy losses in the first couple weeks. Not as bad as Mark, though.
Not as bad as Mark.
Not nearly as
Clearly.
bad.
It was $80 worth. It was terrible for Kobe.
Where's that $80 going,
That
Kobe?
$80 got me one 100 Thieves stock. I held on to one of them, just in case I get that golden ticket.
I love it. Looking for the golden ticket, but the rest goes on to Team Liquid, who still are near the top in terms of the cost per share.
So I heard that Team Liquid were very unhappy with dropping the games.
Okay.
It has been a long enough period of time after MSI, and I do not expect them to continue to drop any more games. Also considering their next opponents, Cloud9, again, with the graphic here, is chopped off. That's not one we're betting on.
That's the screen.
Mark, you don't touch the touch screen.
Leave it up.
Oh, man.
So I think that I'm going with the Team Liquid are going to not drop games rather than, maybe they go 2-2 and still go up in value. Yes, they're a high cost, but I think they'll win.
Right, totally fair. You may have noticed that Crumbs is not with us this week, but we're going to take this opportunity to flame his investments for the week. So taking a look at his portfolio. With $4,700 to invest, he's going to go 6 into Optic. He's riding that 4-0 train, hoping they keep it going, and then taking some assurances.
It's just the hot hand fallacy. It's like, they were so good against non-playoff teams. They went 4-0. They'll go 4-0 again now against really difficult opponents.
Crumbs is doing like he heard crypto is skyrocketing. He's like, I'll take some of that. Yes, right before it crashes. I think that is really rough because if we look at Optic's next games coming up, they're playing all of the top teams. Team Liquid, Cloud9 are in there, so they have some difficult opponents, and their price has risen over the last few weeks where they just went undefeated.
That portfolio has some definite possibilities of exploding. But with your bets placed, I want to see how that might affect your predictions for today's game. See if you put your prediction analysis behind the teams where you put your money. Crumbs threw in his predictions as well, and he actually differs from you guys in 2 of the games. That's
Kobe hasn't predicted anything right all season.
Of the day. Kobe's sitting at 0-0. What's going on, buddy?
I have not predicted anything wrong either.
That
it
is
looks like.
true. That is very true.
I actually want to flip my prediction. I initially put Echo Fox down just because I bought their stock, but the more I was thinking about that matchup, I was like, actually, can I please put that as CLG? I didn't get a chance to tell Grab.
Too bad, it's locked in.
Actually, hearing about Echo Fox putting Phoenix and Apollo back in made me more confident in my pick. Why are you flip-flopping now?
I'm just not convinced that they're going to be great. The way that they were winning games at the end of the last season with this roster was like turbo late game focus, and I think CLG is actually just a better if they're both going to go late. I trust their carries more late. I trust PoE late game way more than I trust Phoenix late game. And so I'm concerned if they go for that style, it favors CLG.
That's game 2. Game 1, FlyQuest versus TL. We're tossing out to the Battle Arena to get ourselves into Champion Select. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dash. Welcome to the Battle Arena. Team Liquid are ready to go, as are FlyQuest. I am Freak. Azale's to my right. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good to hear. How's life?
It's well.
It's super duper.
Yeah.
It's superb. Well, so are the teams on stage. Azale, as Team Liquid and FlyQuest are entering Champion Select. What a beautiful segue. And we are ready to go.
Perfect. Nailed it. I was really considering if I just didn't respond to you.
Yeah.
How would you prove that I was here?
I would make them turn the cameras on. And they wouldn't do it, but
Exactly.
it would be fine. Either way, we are in a Champion Select, and Team Liquid, that is not a bug. 2-2, a slow start for the MSI finalists. I talked to Doublelift today when he was grabbing lunch. And I was like, Doublelift, I need some spicy inside information. What's going on? And he
And he
says,
was like, Freak, why did you follow me here?
I mean, sort of. But he's like, if we lose today, the coach is getting fired. We're not allowed to have a negative win rate. So I assumed he was joking. We'll see.
Yes, he is joking. I can tell you that for sure. Team Liquid, off to a little bit of a bumpy start. A lot of people, though, pretty highly public that they were taking some breaks, that they were feeling a little bit burned out after MSI. Week 3 now, though, they have to ramp back up. I know they were not happy about the fact that they were out to this slower start. They want to be making sure that they are, in a really comfortable position, that they are very early on in the season, locking in playoffs, securing their world strips. These sorts of things are really important to this squad. And FlyQuest, likewise, had a good spring split. They are off to a rough start here too, 1-3. Certainly one of the teams that people were expecting to perhaps challenge those top 3 squads. And they did have one really good win against TSM. That is one of those upper echelon teams that people had predicted at the beginning of the split, but still, they are going to need to. And look at the smile on his face, hovering the York against Impact here.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a solid top lane. I'm pretty sure Aatrox is a bit stronger as we wait for the time to tick down and figure out what they do want to play. Sylas, of course, the only 100% champion across the top 5 leagues in the Summer Split is Sylas. Aatrox, the most sought-after top laner overall, though, and we'll see where that Sylas ends up going.
Yeah, Sylas definitely could go mid or top. Aatrox, we are certainly expecting to be going top. It has not really been getting played in jungle or mid in NA recently. There is still champions along the lines of Ryze. We had been seeing FlyQuest do quite a bit of that split push style, and another thing that has really been developing is Xayah being picked independently of Rakan. People are not always feeling like you have to grab that duo together. We've been seeing Xayah Nautilus, Xayah Lux, Xayah Rakan. So even though teams are often then forced to ban out Rakan or feel that they have to, you still have all these other great pairings that can be put alongside it.
Yeah, there's a lot of value here against Team Liquid as well. CoreJJ is really best on initiators. Rakan has been, I would say, his best champion of the year. With Xayah taken up, you are less likely to want that champion. So even though you've grabbed a good market, you've also probably pushed CoreJJ down his tier list as well. There is the Ryze now picked up for Jensen. We now know pretty much 100% of the time that it's Aatrox top with Ryze in the mid lane. And now what are they going to pick next? What are they going to pick against Xayah in the bottom lane?
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see where they do actually elect to go. A lot of players are really feeling that it is the rise of mage supports, that a lot of these guys are coming back in. People are really struggling to actually deal with Lux support in particular. A lot of players have been talking about, just how flexible it is, just how strong it is. Against all-in champions, you're going Aftershock. People don't think that you can actually burst it down. Against poke lanes, it can go, Guardian and have a lot of kind of sustain and effective HP that you're adding in a team fight through that W max shield that you're throwing out and hitting your teammates with. So be interested to see if anyone does elect to grab Lux or if it's going to actually get taken away.
Ooh.
FLICKR grabbing the Riven.
I love it. Again, the gauntlet is thrown down. We know the Aatrox is top lane, the Ryze is mid, and Viper says, guys, this is a Riven game. I will clap Impact, don't you worry. Brings it out. I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to watch this one play out. It's going to be a fun matchup.
Yeah, definitely very exciting. And both top laners were having some banter in Champ Select before, so they are certainly ready to go. Viper was playing his signature Riven against TSM in that one win that they do have in this split thus far. He absolutely popped off in that game, was looking very, very good. And there is that Rakan ban that I was talking about. Because it is such a powerful pairing, it does very often draw that ban, but yet people are still comfortable pairing it alongside, the Xayah alongside some of these other high priority supports.
So right now, both teams need their supports. You've got Team Liquid, who needs a bot laner for Doublelift right now, and FlyQuest needs a jungler. So we'll see if we get some desynced bans. You have, of course, Double Marksman ban coming out of FlyQuest. They get rid of Sever, who's probably the cream of the crop, right after Xayah. Ezreal, a decent pick as well, but there's still much more in the pool overall. And Team Liquid, are they going to push another support ban down because FlyQuest get first dibs, or do they try to pinch Santorin's pool a little bit? With only Skarner really grabbed up and only Olaf otherwise banned, there's kind of an ocean of opportunity down there. We'll see as the time ticks down what the final ban's going to be. Running out of time, and it will be Elise, actually, because you see there's plenty of physical damage with the Riven. You typically want to win top lane through that champion. Magic damage jungler would have fit that bill well.
Yeah, it certainly does. And if you want to play really aggressively around that top lane, as you often do with a Riven, 2v2, Elise is incredibly powerful, really adept at pulling off those dives as well on that top side of the map. I also do believe that it was Elise paired up with the Riven in their last Riven game against TSM, and that worked out quite well for them. If we do get a Rek'Sai here, people do kind of give the edge to Rek'Sai in the earlier stages, but it becomes very difficult for Rek'Sai to teamfight into a Skarner because people are going Warrior, people are going damage builds these days. If you burrow into the teamfight and simply get ulted up by that Skarner, you can get focused down before you're really able to get much of anything done.
Yeah, and you're not kind of like a Sejuani or a Zac where you can just build a QSS and you still do your job really well. Rek'Sai has a QSS, she doesn't do damage anymore, so that's going to be a bit of a tight fit right there. Caitlyn gets grabbed up, not a big surprise. She's definitely been appearing a lot more as of late in the pro scene. Lux alongside it, so the front line's going to be only Aatrox and Skarner, with an almost certainly shield max Lux for CoreJJ in the bottom.
Yeah, this is great, and this is actually what they played against with Optic. I do believe when they played against Optic last week, it was this Caitlyn Lux as well as the Victor in the mid lane, and they were sieged upon very, very heavily. They really did struggle in that game to kind of deal with some of those strategies. So will be interesting to see if they are going to be able to pull this off themselves. The Nautilus will be the selection here for JayJ. So one of those supports I mentioned earlier, which can really be paired up well with the Xayah. It is not, I would say, as powerful as the Rakan. It's more kind of one-dimensional. You have incredible engage, but you do not have that disengage, jumping in and out of fights as Rakan can do. But that being said, with the root, with your hook and your ultimate, you were setting up for those feathers to then be following up on that with the root from the Xayah. So can be quite powerful in that regard. But that being said, if you cannot all in, Lux and Caitlyn will push you in, they will be poking at your turret, and they are certainly going to be drawing attention, you have to feel, from Santorin, from Pobelter, to potentially on those roams down to that bottom side. Otherwise, they can threaten those early tower takes, and that is when Caitlyn teams can snowball the game very heavily, can move around the map and really take over.
Yeah, then we definitely have both side lanes as hotbeds for action down here. You can find a hook onto Lux or Caitlyn. Some really big damage can be done. Of course, they're going to keep trying to siege on the Team Liquid side, and on the other side of it, of course, Riven versus Aatrox, going to be a volatile matchup. Riven should be able to dodge away from a lot of those sweet points, the sweet parts of the Aatrox Q, dodge away from the knockup, dodge away from the bonus damage, and that can be very, very aggressive 1v1.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see how this plays out. Sylas with some pretty powerful ults to steal. Aatrox ultimate pretty good, Skarner ultimate, Lux I think are kind of the main three, but there's nothing absolutely game-changing besides maybe that Skarner ultimate. And excuse me, I do believe that game that TL had was actually, I think, against Seal G, if I'm not mistaken. So I did have that mixed up. Was not in fact against Optic, but it was this bottom lane that they did face off against and really struggled to really get much done because of the power of the sieging. You drop traps on one side of the turret, you're loosening Singularity, that Luxie on the other side of the turret becomes really tough to approach.
Already one thing I want to point out, as we get the cheers from the audience to cheer on their favorite teams, both Team Liquid and FlyQuest have been very good teams so far this year. I always do like pointing out when it's Spell Thief's Lux. Now, Aftershock is the standard keystone. That's, make no mistake, that helps her stay alive against someone like Nautilus. She can save her Q for when there is an actual fight, gains 30 armor, doesn't die in the 2v2. But Spell Thieves, in the games I've mostly seen of Lux support in pro play, she very quickly has to start playing defensively against other engaged supports and gets a very, very late quest complete and gets a very late sight stun as a result. From what I have seen, I've preferred coin on Lux, even though it's less ability power. You get the gold to buy some AP yourself, and that ends up being better. But we'll see how this game plays out. If they can push 2-on-2 nonstop, you get free gold off the turret and you're ahead.
Exactly, and I think it's just super matchup dependent. You know, if you can shove them in, you know, this is something where you can be farming that gold off of the turret. You know, Nautilus, it can be very difficult to all in as this Nautilus unless your jungler is down here, so you may be able to kind of farm off of that Nautilus every time he's looking for a Targon stack. You know, some of the really difficult matchups can often be range versus range for Lux, where if you're fighting against something, say, like a Sona or whatever, who's going to win those trades, you can't always even afford to kind of walk up and get those Spell Thieves procs, as we have seen in the past.
Absolutely. One thing I also want to point out for the fans watching at home, we are still on patch 9.11, which is no longer the current live patch, so the 7th Ryze rework not yet in play here in this game, so it's the old version where the E deals damage, doesn't bounce as often.
Yeah, and we likely won't be seeing much Sylas anymore after the patch, as he got some huge nerfs coming through, and you know, this may kind of be those last week we really are seeing this champion in pro for a while, and it has been such a huge mainstay. These professional players are just so good at it, you know, being able to not only use, you know, the ultimate ceiling, but also this wave clear, which is really what was targeted.
And of course, as we still see ourselves in this game, we've got pretty close on farm. Jensen has only dropped 1 CS the entire first couple of waves. There's an aggressive ward. CoreJJ, of course, with the wave being pushed, able to walk up there. That's a very, very good trinket ward. It spots blue and Gromp, especially if there's ever a red side start for the opposing jungler. You can track the rest of that path, no problem, and you're almost always immune to getting ganked.
Yeah, and both junglers doing kind of similar paths here. They did a full clear, Raptors, Krugs, red. Now going back to the other side. Xmithie did take an early base, though, to grab the Predator boots. So he now is going to have the ability, you know, with those off cooldown, to be able to threaten for some sort of a play. But it looks like he did just use it to get back out on the map, and you're just going to kind of use that for a little bit of a additional power in the early game, whereas Santorin is likely just going to be doing a 6-game clear into Scuttle base and make his first buy and then look for some sort of a gank. And it kind of has been more of Santorin's style this split, I would say, is kind of heavily prioritizing farm and not always going for those early level ganks. But even on that Elise game against TSM, when he was paired up with Viper's Riven, you know, he was sitting at level 7 without even really having attempted ganks. You know, he was very comfortable to just be farming it out.
But this time he's trying, and he is in Fog of War right now. So here he's spotted now by Jensen. Good rune prison gives him space. The flash knockup still going to land, though. And the chains afterwards. Do they have the damage? The Prey Seeker finds him. And FlyQuest grab first blood.
Really nicely done there. Jensen tried to flash over the Rek'Sai, but not able to actually avoid the unburrow. So gets knocked up on the other side, chained in by Pobelter afterwards. Really good CC chain from them. And that is such a good start here for Santorin, who did get to power farm out. 5 camps, comes mid. There is the flash, not able to get away from Santorin. And then the Prey Seeker finishing him off before Pobelter would have potentially gone down to that turret shot.
It really heads up stuff right there. Xmithie gets to capture the Spire, but I don't believe took a lot of farm, maybe parts of the Krugs, not even the Krugs. So gets some vision down, has to leave right away. But is able to run around the map now himself. So this is FlyQuest with 600 gold for an assisted first blood.
Yeah, and you can see on the bottom side, Heal and Ignite have been traded. I do tend to think that does actually favor the Caitlyn Lux lane, simply because if you do not have 100 to 0 kill potential, it's very difficult to actually engage on the side of this Nautilus Xayah. So that Ignite has been used, and we'll see if this TL lane can continue to kind of keep them shoved in. The CS, though, slightly in the favor of WildTurtle, very even in that regard, so no major advantages in that way. And it is TP taken by Turtle, so he's going to be the one who can actually TP back to this lane and just try to keep pressure on.
And Jensen kind of susses out, like, Poe's playing so far up, I don't have vision, maybe I should be afraid of Rek'Sai. Playing very far from the turret, and suddenly JJ's here, flashes in, finds some damage, and a second kill already on the board, 2-0 for Santorin.
A beautiful dive there from FlyQuest, bringing up the Nautilus. Turtle was going for a reset. He went back to base, and I think that TL is going to assume JayJ is going to reset at the same time as his AD there, but Turtle TP's back to the bot lane. JayJ shows up mid. The collapse from FlyQuest coming in from either side. And remember, this is a flashless Ryze. Really nothing that Jensen could do to escape this. He was actually playing quite defensively, but the knock up, the passive auto, the chains coming in from Pobelter, that is another easy kill. And Jensen is way down already. And he's going to be quite behind as far as experience. He's down 12 CS also. And he is going to be a target for these repeat ganks because still there is the flash available on Pobelter.
Yeah, super late tier coming out, so even if he does get the items, it's just going to be slower stacking overall with time. TP, of course, was already on cooldown, so a slow road up for the Team Liquid mid laner as FlyQuest now has Santorin back in the jungle. And okay, sure, he's down 2.5 camps compared to what Xmithie has, but I will take that every time for 2 kills. You can see the gold up 500, plus the lead his mid laner has, 600 gold there. The plate, of course, the assists, both those things helping. The FlyQuest an amazing early start here, and you mentioned Rek'Sai. Yeah, a bit of a stronger early game jungler, and though Santorin previously this year has been a bit of a farmer, has been ganking great so far.
Yeah, he's been playing incredibly well this game, and it is someone I think that is critical for FlyQuest success because he was so damn good for them in spring, and getting yourself this sort of an early lead on Rek'Sai really can put you in a great position to snowball the game. You're a champion that not only do you have the early success, if you get those kills in the early minutes of this game, you can be 1v1ing solo laners in the mid game. Your ultimate becomes such an incredibly powerful tool if you do get that early warrior completion, and he's really on pace to do just that.
Oh, very good start in the mid-game as Pobelter. Well, he's found a way to get his jungler over. If you watched the LCS countdown at the beginning of the day, there is a soundbite of Jensen saying, you know, Pobelter's a good team fighter. He knows Cody's on good teams, but he doesn't know how to pull his jungler over. Doesn't know how to, like, advantage his own leads. So, you know, I'm really not afraid of him. It's fine. And in this game, though, and in the bot lane as well, but that's the big shielding you kind of get out of CoreJJ. He's going to withstand pretty much all that damage. This ult could be an all-in for Turtle. Exhaust comes in. He's still putting the Qs out. Finds the root, but has to flash away from Doublelift's Q. Flash over the wall as he gets away from JayJ, but now Xmithie with Predator on is on the way over. This is a flashless Nautilus. There's the first slow from Lux. He's almost in range. He's going to flash, and that's almost assuredly going to be a kill. The shield's not enough, and Xmithie is on the board.
Nicely done. TL able to get kill on that bottom side. It was a pretty good all-in timing, though, from FlyQuest. They had the earlier 6 on Xayah, and the Ignite cooldown is lower than heal, so they went again with that off sync. Doublelift did not have his heal available, and they almost were able to pull it off, but Xmithie was down here on that bottom side, and now on the top lane, Viper's looking for an all-in.
Pretty big damage right there as Impact puts his own ult down. They're going to be trading ult for ult, looks like, as Impact is going to walk away and stay higher HP. Viper does very little damage right there, and looks like he's going for a recall.
Will just end up resetting, but as you say, trade of ultimates there. Santorin going to be starting up the Dragon, but here this is one more time, so notice again, Turtle, he had TP back to lane, so he was up in experience. He has the ultimate. JayJ has Ignite, whereas Doublelift did not have his heal back on this Caitlyn and this root. Q auto E, pass through for the root, but JayJ just can't get in range because of the flash from the Caitlyn. And then no flash on the Nautilus means Xmithie can walk in, flash ult, finish off this Nautilus for the kill.
Good timing by CoreJJ, saves the root until the very end of the Impale duration just to guarantee there's no way out. So that was mechanically pretty nice as well. And it gets the game a lot closer, still in the 600 separating these teams. As items push through, and Doublelift has slightly more expensive ones to compare the bottom laners with his 7 CS lead, and I believe a plate taken as well.
Yeah, 2 plates already off that bottom tier 1 turret, but Doublelift now could be in some trouble. Remember, Nautilus has ult.
Yeah, ton of CC burn now as Doublelift tries to net backwards, finds a slow on a WildTurtle, and that's going to be enough as JayJ slightly layered his CC and gave just that small win over Doublelift to get out.
Yeah, and Turtle did not have flash. He couldn't actually follow up more there. Will Doublelift stick around, though, because the wave is pushing away from him, which would mean if you go back to base, you're going to lose all of this farm, so they don't feel that they can actually go for the reset.
Oh, Core spots it! And just alley-oops Doublelift. Beautiful pickup there.
Yeah, recalling on the ward. He's going to get sniped out, and you can see CoreJJ already has that support item completed. That did just transform over right alongside JayJ's, so being able to actually stack that up pretty quickly in this lane, as you were talking about earlier, certainly wasn't an issue for CoreJJ this game. And Doublelift grabbing that kill, being able to reset the wave, puts him in a really great spot. He's going to be close to IE gold here.
Well, game back into Team Liquid's favor. Has the Cloak of Agility, will not have the combine just yet. And actually is going to stop down for a little bit and buy some other components. And we'll see when that progresses down the line. Stopwatch ready to go here for CoreJJ. He got a couple of assists early on, and that's 10:30 in, so he's got that one ready for himself in case there is a strong all-in from JayJ and the rest of the crew.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just makes it even harder now to look for those all-ins. You know, he is going to be putting more and more points in the W as he does level up. Right now, he's sitting on 2 points in the E, 4 kind of lane harass, and then he's going to be most likely just going pure into that shield, maxing that out, trying to keep that up. And with exhaust, it becomes very, very difficult to look for the all-ins through the aftershock, through the exhaust, through the shielding. You do become very, very resilient.
Now moving around the map, though, looking at the next big play is Nautilus with Moby Boots running towards the top side here, as he's hoping to maybe turn around Viper's 1v1. Viper is down about 20 CS, though. This is Impact in a pretty much undisturbed 1v1, getting a lead here. Good damage onto this Nautilus, but now maybe a fight back towards him as the Rek'Sai is nearby. Ult's going to be burned, and Impact's as well, used for some move speed. Burns his flash. Does he choose to come back in with Xmithie coming around? No, he's going to walk away and head back to his own lane. So a couple ults born on both sides, but Impact down a flash.
Yeah, being down that flash pretty big, and that is a great ult steal there from Pobelter because now Xmithie can't really chase into the turret. If the ultimate from Sylas goes up faster, he will ult you under his own turret and kill you, so that becomes a very dangerous game. But meantime, on that bottom side, when you send JayJ and Turtle up to the top lane, Doublelift and CoreJJ were already pushing this lane very heavily, so it will be a trade of first turret for that Rift Herald. We'll see where TL are going to actually rotate around the map. Are they going to send their bot lane top to try to defend their top lane turret?
Right now, Team Liquid winning through bot lane. Team Liquid trying to win through that one as they force JayJ away as Impact rejoins. It's FlyQuest hoping they can win through Pobelter and Santorin, but that has not borne fruit anywhere else on the map. But it's time for Doublelift to run back into mid and keep using his gold lead. He's got attack damage and attack speed. Those are stats that work against turrets. It's part of the reason he probably didn't build the crit earlier on, and now comes the first plate in mid lane, and he's not even stopping.
Yeah, just continue to poke away at this turret, and this is such a strong way to utilize the Caitlyn. This really is what was done to them last week, and now showing their mastery of this style. Being able to kind of create these zones of control, it's very difficult to engage through Caitlyn traps straight into the Lux because Caitlyn can create this small corridor where you have to engage through. And then it makes it almost impossible to actually dodge the Lux binding when you're having to run through this one gap in those traps. And if you ever step on a trap, that's a free binding follow-up. And then there's the Room Prison. There's so much that you are having to deal with in that sort of a spot.
Yep.
So are able to cash in on quite a few plates here. They got 2 from mid lane, 1 from top, all 5 on that bottom side. So TL, really coming out in that regard quite a bit ahead.
Yeah, a lot of great things on my Team Liquid. You can see about 1,000 gold for Doublelift and for JayJ each above their opponents. And that earlier mid-jungle combo that worked for FlyQuest is 600 total across both of them. So it really is Team Liquid really turning this, the end of the early game around quite nicely. They're sizably ahead here, and we'll see what the next play for them is. It feels like they will keep sieging with this Caitlyn lead.
Yeah, they certainly will. And now that's IE plus Zerkers complete there for Doublelift. And while those early moves towards mid lane were great from Pobelter and Santorin, even JayJ making that roam up, the lead has not compounded. It has not gotten any bigger. In fact, it has actually been shrinking over these last minutes. So Pobelter is still certainly stronger than Jensen at this point in the game, but has not been able to really extend that lead thus far. And that early Athenes, normally you say, well, support role doesn't actually matter as much. I do think that Athenes in particular on Lux is incredibly strong, making it even harder to all in because it is a champion that stacks up that poke damage fairly well. And then you're able to kind of get that additional 250 maximum heal, I do believe it is, off of a shield. So that makes the all-ins even more difficult.
And a lot of extra health can come in through right here. And we've got the first Drake of the game coming down without any difficulties as Team Liquid with their newfound mid pressure and their already earned bot lane pressure get that one picked up. There's their Infernal, the earlier mountain, of course, grabbed a while ago by FlyQuest through mid. But this is still probably the better Drake overall. And well, now with Shelly summoned up, 9 plates to 4, at least one turret will get on the board for FlyQuest. No one is answering Pobelter in the side lane. Impact sitting far enough back that he knows to be afraid of Rek'Sai.
Yeah, there's not really anything he can do to actually defend that, especially with the new ultimate where you have to get a kill or an assist before you can revive. Maybe in the old days he could have tried to aggressively defend that, but no chance in this situation. So it will be a turret, but on the other side of the map, you did see Xmithie was actually farming away the opposing blue buff, taking away some of those camps. They're trying to equalize the gold exchange there. you know, even going to be able to grab that scuttle. And for now, you can really see the game plan is kind of on opposite sides of the map. So you can look at this pocket of vision as they're going to look for a turtle here.
Ooh, and flashes in time to not be impaled, but does immune Doublelift's ultimate damage and is able to walk away, but that's still flash down. And that is a loss of summoners.
So here's like all this kind of area is really FlyQuest where they have their wards. And then, you know, down on the bottom side of the map, you can see all of this vision concentrated in these opposite sides for TL. And that really was to protect Doublelift and CoreJJ, to allow them to be pushing aggressively and sieging. You need to be able to know where roams and junglers, ganks are going to be coming from if you want to be up at that turret, hitting that turret. And that really is the Caitlyn's job. So Viper sitting in this flank position. He's being pinged out though, so Xmithie is going to look for him, and this line of wards doing its job once again. They want to be sieging mid lane, so that is where they're going to concentrate most of their vision to allow Doublelift to be aggressively posturing for that turret.
And on they go to the mid lane. Teleport used to get someone back into this one to help defend as the siege continues now for Team Liquid.
Also a little concerning that JayJ, with all this roams, he's level 6. You know, he's 2 levels down on CoreJJ. The carries are level 10, level 11, so if that Nautilus becomes very, very squishy, you know, those levels are quite important for a support who doesn't have a lot of gold income. You know, he's so dependent on the Aftershock to be able to survive, but you know, if you do get bound up, you can just die 100-0 very easily in that type of situation, and does now at least hit 7.
FlyQuest pings, hey, someone stole my wolves. Impact already long gone. Gets away with the crime, no problem at all. That steal's easy for him. Big Wolf is left up, which is most of the gold, but still some taken away here as we reset and look at where everyone has gone around the map. Impact, solo into the bottom lane. Pobelter, solo into the top one, shoving that one in onto Sylas. He has not found an answer in a while here. Got a couple of assists. Still does have his farm lead over Jensen, but they've just kind of been trading farm back and forth. There's the last hitting under the turret, and we still sit on this 2,000 gold difference. Now a fight in the bottom river as over the wall goes Viper, doesn't get pulled back with the chain, and no harm, no foul.
Yeah, and Impact not really willing to make that chase without vision on that side of the map. You know, for now, TL, again, you know, they really have just been centering all their vision around the mid lane. It is really just this line of pink wards across the map. You can see, you know, really from here to here, this is all that kind of TL area. They are trying to deny any forward vision for FlyQuest to try to protect themselves, setting up in the river, setting up in this area, and making sure that they have these really safe pockets of vision where they can farm. And CoreJJ playing it safe. The Lux E giving him vision into that brush.
Yeah.
And then he can step forward and actually work away on that pink ward.
Definitely a really strong thing for Lux in pro play is sussing out where those brush ganks could be. And it's something that Xayah's working to as well with her seedlings. And sometimes you just Braum or Tom Kench and survive it, but the squishy ones can find ways to know what's around the corner and kill those things without much difficulty to their own selves. And that's a positive as they do drop out those wards and try to remove that safety from FlyQuest. These wards getting fought for back and forth, and Team Liquid say, well, over this wall, can we do it? There's the ward. Yeah, we can kill this ward.
Yeah, and Team Liquid 4 members on the top side. Viper is pushing on that bottom lane, so they're going to have to try to send down Impact to answer this. It will be TL, though, taking another outer turret, the last of the outers here for them. You know, utilizing this Caitlyn very, very well, and this should very likely get Doublelift to that rapid fire, that 2-item stage. So he's going to be at a really, really strong point. This is where I think the game always becomes more difficult for the Caitlyn's, though. The outer towers, I think, is a much more simple ask. When you then are trying to move up and siege towards these tier 2s, you do end up in this situation where there's so many more angles of engage. There's ways that you can get flanked.
Yeah.
Lane wards are a lot easier for your opponents to get to then TP in. So you're exposing yourself in so many different ways. And this is an area of the game where a lot of teams start to struggle and really slow down as a result. But you know, thankfully for them, Dragon is about to come up. You know, Baron will be on the map in 30 seconds. So there are ways that they can try to set up around those neutral objectives and get advantages there instead of having to force for a tier 2 immediately.
And it seems likely as the outer turrets are gone, and as you mentioned, these next neutrals coming up, we're seeing a lot of Team Liquid. And pretty much where the Caitlyn goes, so goes Liquid. She is bottom river right now. And, well, FlyQuest have put their members around as well. It's actually Jensen soloing top lane. The rest of FlyQuest are around mid, so it's now a 4-1 versus the whole of FlyQuest pushing down mid lane. We'll see how much gets done here as mid lane is cleared off. TL can fight for some more. They gotta respect Pobelter. He can flash over, and he's gonna find that first pull, and they're gonna find the damage to the Doublelift. The stolen Xmithie ult's a huge deal. Goes for round 2. Over the wall goes Skarner, barely survives, but no! Viper has found him and finds kill number 2 as well. Ryze only pushing the top lane. 2 kills for FlyQuest.
Yeah, they get those 2 kills. They likely can get the Dragon here as well, but they actually want to respond, it looks like, to Ryze on that top lane. Jensen will get a tier 2 turret.
They might go
and
Baron.
a bit of a farm, but yeah, they are heading towards Baron. Xmithie is dead. This would be a risky move to make, though. It is 20 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, so this Baron will do a lot of damage, but they are killing it very, very fast with that Mountain Dragon.
No combat ults are up for Team Liquid. It's Realm Warp only. TP brings their 5th member back into the pool, and there is not a smite. They can find Pobelter, though. That's a lot of damage, and he gets himself killed on the TP.
Now they can take the
But
3v4.
is there a real chance to smite it? This should be easy, and he grabs it, but now the fight. This could be hard. A second kill does go to Team Liquid. They answer the kills back, but now you gotta watch out for the rest of this one. That was a great opening, and Jensen finds yet another one. 3 kills not picked up for that Baron take.
Yeah, 3 kills for the Baron. This is much more questionable if it was really worth it, because it's how much can TL get now? TL are going to try to push up and take this tier 2. They will get the Dragon as a result, so FlyQuest go for the big risk, big reward play.
Yeah.
It ends in a bit of a wash. I would say probably positive TL for now, unless they can find a way to really get something from this Baron buff. But because they are weaker as far as the combat power, they likely can't push forward with it anyway. And you can see those insane Skarner stats here for Xmithie. Has been such a good champion for him over the last year or so in the LCS.
Yeah.
Really making it work for him and his team.
That is Cloud Drake that picked up as well. A second combat Drake for TL to get better at team fighting. Impact even can try to steal the blue buff. This one's less likely. Santorin has smite.
Yeah.
But we'll wait to see who wears it better.
Oh,
Impact does.
okay. Surprising, but I think Santorin was just giving the respect that, hey, what if Lux is at that corner? What if
Sure.
there's someone there? Here's the play again from Pobelter. Really nice stuff from him. Goes over the wall, flash, Skarner ultimate onto Doublelift, and at that point you're saying, all right, bail out, get out if you can. There's no way you're gonna actually win that team fight with Doublelift dead instantly, so they do commit to the split push, and this is where FlyQuest is debating exactly what they want to do. They decide they're going to go to the Baron, they TP back into Sylas, but Pobelter TPs right in the face of the 3 members of Team Liquid and gives up a very easy kill. From there, with Viper really low, with Santorin at half health, Team Liquid can easily take that fight, despite the fact that it is the 3v4. They knock down JayJ, they're able to use the Ryze ultimate in chase, Jensen flashing over, cleaning up another kill. So 3 kills there for TL. Knocking off a lot of Baron buffs as well, then taking the tier 2 mid, the Dragon. But FlyQuest does have a little bit of Baron time. A minute 20 here remaining or so on that buff, so we'll see if they can actually utilize it to get any sort of an advantage. And they have gotten 2 turrets to their credit, so a very minor advantage in the goal taken with this Baron power play, but still, not the most effective.
Sure, of course. Those trade kills that Team Liquid got were really big.
Yeah.
That was I think cataclysmic, because it was not only more than 1,000 gold of kill credit, but the 3 Baron buffs off means a ton as well.
Yeah, it really does, especially because they took it off both the soul laners, so the split pushes actually knocked down quite a bit.
Yep.
But it's not to say that it was a poor attempt from FlyQuest. I actually think if Pobelter didn't get picked going in, yeah, they probably just take the Baron and get out.
He
because I
steals
don't
Realm
think-
Warp and they leave together.
Yeah, like you can't actually engage into that 3v5, but because they got the free kill on Pob, they were able to really kind of make that look a lot better for them. So certainly a costly mistake from him. Either way, game fairly close to parity, but Doublelift at a strong point. And when you do look at the Dragons, in combat move speed as well as the additional ADAP is favoring TL as well.
For sure. 3,000 gold lead puts Team Liquid in the driver's seat here. Certainly, FlyQuest have fought valiantly. There have been glimmers of hope, but they've got to come back from a deficit now. As bot lane tier 2 falls, the Baron buff times out at a pretty much neutral Baron power play, all things considered.
Yeah, Pobelter continuing to push. He does not have TP, but it doesn't matter because TL did not elect to continue that push. They will actually go back to answer. So very likely we'll get a lot of damage down on this turret. Being able to utilize that passive on the turret does really help Sylas to get a lot done when he is in a side lane and he isn't answered. Caitlyn now for Doublelift here, closing in on that 3rd item will be a Shiv. And 3 items is really where people like to kind of target Caitlyn as becoming very strong again in the fights. Yeah. People really do talk a lot about Caitlyn's early lane power, but then there is kind of this fairly big power trough. You are much weaker on 1 item than, say, a Xayah, even weaker on 2 items. A lot of people will argue. When you do hit 3, when you have that crit, when you have a high amount of attack speed, you have so much safety with your additional range in team fights that your DPS is really ramping up and you become quite an effective team fighter.
Yeah, that's basically her strength, is that she's very good at making sure her items are always on because of the 650 range, and so lo and behold, when you get more items, them being always on is a big deal. So we're going to see now as we get 25 minutes into this game, Baron and Dragon both spawning in about 80 seconds. We'll see if it's Team Liquid playing the Siege game or if it's actually just trying to find the right way to trade the objectives back and forth. You have to assume if they go for one, FlyQuest can try to rush the other.
Yeah, definitely the case, especially with Mountain. It really does kind of help to enable, those critical close trade plays. When you do need those extra seconds, the Mountain can help in that regard. You can see the early GA done here on Santorin. He did elect to go back towards that before completing his Black Cleaver. That is going to allow him to try to more aggressively trade out his life. The question is just, with the amount of damage that he can put out, with him and Viper diving down, can they actually pick someone off? Because someone is going to be likely getting ulted in peel from Xmithie. Are you going to be able to really burst down Doublelift when there is an Athenes and Redemption on Lux, when there is Exhaust? That becomes pretty difficult.
Well, the hope is what Pobelter hijacked again for the third time, and it's trying to find Doublelift. This is a 0 QSS team, but they're against Sylas with a Skarner on their own squad. The overall cooldown is a bit longer than ability. He can't steal it as often as Xmithie has it up, but that pick is still available at all times.
It certainly is, but it's also scary going in as Pobelter because he has no QSS, he has no Zonias. If you get ulted there, you can be in trouble too, but he's found Jensen.
Find one, he's rooted, but they start to pull. They're going for Ryze and Flash. Redemption, so much shielding. Ryze is yet to fall. Guardian Angel will drop, and now the re-engage impact puts on a ton of damage on a JayJ, and a second kill follows through as well. They're gonna find a third. This is completely Team Liquid, and they're on top of Viper. Coiled around him, he's constricted and dead. 4 for 0. Team Liquid have all the runway they need to take out FlyQuest base.
Yeah, they're just going straight for the base here. Likely could take an inhibitor and then retreat back to the Baron if they want. Would be risky to try to go for the end, but it is possible to try to attempt this. 30 seconds of both the solos. I think we're going to see inhibitor into Baron. We'll find out what kind of a play TL want to make, though.
You know, it's at least inhib based on posturing there. They're running forward on the turret. They know WildTurtle is now with JayJ.
Yep.
And yeah, with Rek'Sai back alive in 3 seconds, they're gonna run back to this northern jungle. There is a chance they full reset and decide to say, hey, let's not really play for the Smite fight. But they can easily also get rid of the vision, drop all of these tunnels down, and make that fight all the same.
Yeah, they don't actually have to attempt this. They can, as you say, get vision, maybe wait for the scuttle and try to secure that, but they have started up this Baron. They're trying to force the hand of FlyQuest, and Viper has no TP. He's still in base. Here comes Doublelift.
1,000,000 damage on a JayJ burning down. He's got nice ult through from Lux. Now WildTurtle has to ult, try to get away, staying alive best he can. Impact in the front lines, takes some damage, but they have turned right away for this fight. Turtle at 1/3 health, even lower than that, and FlyQuest running.
He has ult.
There's the blue smite there. Not gonna go for the pull, actually. I guess they could have traded ult with Pobelter, but that's fine with me, I feel like.
It's like a game of chicken. Neither one of them wants to be the one who gets ulted first, and Xmithie deciding to go back towards the Baron, wants to take the more cautious play. Didn't know if he would get ulted first. If he does, again, pulled towards the tower, maybe goes down. Instead, they will move over to this Baron pit, and you can see Doublelift is able to actually hit the Baron over the wall thanks to all that additional range, so TL are laying a trap.
They're getting damage on Pobelter right now. Take some shots with there. They're aware of Santorin as well, but the health bar is so low, he's not going to get in range. Picked up there for the first one. There's the pull, but it doesn't really matter for his impact. Over the wall goes Pobelter. Chase now down, and the rest of the squad coming in with the Realm Warp. But now the backline. You got to watch out for that one. Not going to happen, though. There are no kills picked up for FlyQuest. It's all Team Liquid all the time. A 3 for 0 already. JayJ is assuredly going to drop another snipe for CoreJJ. Says, I wear the letters better. Have a final spark, and this is certainly going to be it. WildTurtle is alone against all of Team Liquid. He can kill some minions, but there's still so much more time to play with. He can blast cone away. It's fun watching him run. It's a wild goose chase. He is a Birdman after all, but this is certainly the base going down. You can go back to the top side as Turtle is going to live for a few more seconds. We're still watching the Nexus turrets fall in a second. The inhibitors are gone. Team Liquid, there's the final kill. 15-4 on the scoreboard. They will improve to 3-2. And your MSI finalists, the 3-time LCS champions, are going to be taking down the Nexus. A 30-minute win over FlyQuest.
And one of their strongest performances of the season thus far. Team Liquid really turning it up after that one failed pick onto Jensen. They got so much of that fight. And in that fight, you were really able to see the power of the Lux A fully charged Athene's Redemption lands on a low health Jensen. He just went back to full basically in that fight.
Yep.
Gets Lux shielded up, and when FlyQuest had dumped all their damage into trying to kill that Ryze through the Seraph, through the Redemption, the Lux shielding, the Athene's everything there to keep him up. They win the fight hard, they get the Baron, and they were able to really set up the picks around the Baron so incredibly well. Team Liquid cleaning that one up pretty well.
Thank you.
Yep, and that is the kind of game I think Team Liquid fans wanted to see. Is, okay, you guys said you wanted some time after MSI, but ooh, we are really not convinced by week 1 and 2. And you know, in about 10 days, you're facing Europe's best at Rift Rivals. Please, Liquid, can you be on form again? And this looked pretty good. And I do want to say that even though FlyQuest are now 1 and 4. I don't think they're a bad team. I think they've had a fairly hard schedule. They've played most of the best teams. They've played the 4-0 Optic. They've had Cloud9 and TSM and Team Liquid in their run. Golden Guardians also look hot. Like, they've had probably the single hardest schedule. I give them a pass at 1 and 4. I think these are good players. This is a good team. For Team Liquid side, you should feel good about beating a team that is this good. I think the rest of the road looks better for FlyQuest. It actually can't look worse from here. So, you know, I think positive things all around for both teams. Liquid, again, tuning up.
Yeah, definitely the case. You know, it is, you know, not the end of the world for FlyQuest. I still think that they can be a playoff team.
Yeah.
But that being said, people were talking about, can you challenge the top 3? If you want to be one of the best teams in the league, strength of schedule or not, you can't be starting 1 and 4.
Yeah, their one game is a win over TSM, but there's a lot of road ahead. So that is it for us for now. For more on that victory, obviously standing by with Team Liquid's jungler.
Thanks, guys. Xmithie, let's see your hands because show me your hands. Come on, show me your hands. No nail polish. He broke the curse. Congratulations on the win. What did you do to pull through and make it different?
I think we just started practicing after we thought that we couldn't rely on the nails anymore, so yeah.
All right, well, you've had 2 weekends of basically going 1-1. Not the super dominant start that a lot of people expected after your MSI run. What do you think's the cause for that?
I think it's just a lot of things. We weren't really used to the meta, even though like there wasn't much difference. And we weren't really good mechanically, like to our like expectations. And we just need to be, I guess, like practicing more.
Awesome, well, thank you, and congratulations again. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. Team Liquid moving to 3-2 with that victory over FlyQuest. Immediately, I want to take a look at Champion Select and then dive into some game clips because some interesting stuff happened. We've got another Lux, as well as Caitlyn's now finding their way back into the meta.
My favorite champion in the game, James. I mean, he did get target banned out a little bit here, and I think it is one of the best marksmen in the meta, so no surprise to see him on it. Plus, it's a great match with Lux. But I can't help but be a little disappointed, like, oh, there's Caitlyn coming back in the meta.
Hey, you just said it's your favorite champion in the game. How is he now disappointed?
That's a straight-up contradiction.
He's just a liar.
I've got a lot of questions marks.
No, you couldn't pick up on sarcasm. Oh, that's good to know.
Change the way you approach the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But, of course, as well, we have a very spicy top lane matchup in the Aatrox versus the Riven. It's great to see FlyQuest continue to invest in Viper and his ability specifically on that champion. But more than anything, I think we have to highlight the mid lane matchup, especially given Jensen's choice words coming into it at the top of the day.
Yeah, he said, you know, Pobelter's a great player, but he doesn't know how to call for the jungler, can't be the hard carry. And so it was pretty funny to see early on in the game this very direct focus from Santorin onto Pobelter into the game.
Yeah, I mean, the first gank, right, is one thing. You get the flash, you also get the kill. But then the coordination with the rest of the team to repeat focus this area after you've burned the flashes. Off of the first recall, Nautilus goes towards the mid lane here.
Well,
James
the touchscreen is giving me a tough time, my friends.
It's all right. You will learn soon, my young Padawan. But
I don't know why it keeps resetting. This is a tragedy.
Just play the clip for me, my friend.
I got it away. Thank you.
Don't worry, I got you. Oh, wait, no, they pulled it down. Roll the clip.
This is why we don't let James
have nice no,
things.
disaster.
Just take my word for it. Off the first recall, JayJ goes mid lane with Santorin. This is coordinating your jungler and your entire team with the early game plan. Don't worry, buddy. I still love you.
It's not live, guys. Let's just roll back to the top. Let's take it, start over. But yeah, I think it was also interesting to note, there's a small spectator bug. It looks like JayJ flashes in place. He doesn't. He flashes over the wall. You'll see that maybe a couple other times. Just be aware that if it looks like people are just flashing and doing nothing, they are making actual plays.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also kind of true. Like he was like, oh, he doesn't know how to use his jungler, gets ganked twice and killed instantly. But then the other thing he said was they don't really know how to use him as a hard carry, and the Sylas didn't pick up the gold for those kills, but it felt like a complete non-factor. You could have told me those kills didn't happen in this game, and look at everything else that happens on the map, and I would have believed you that, no, Ryze was not 0-2 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was very hard, I think, with the bottom lane for Team Liquid being such a point of strength, and that lane winning on its own. What you want to do with the Sylas usually, right, is rotate the Sylas into the side lane, super strong split pusher with the teleport, and get that game rolling. But I think that Team Liquid showed why smart people invested in this team.
Okay. All right, fair enough. I think we do have to acknowledge the fact that, as Mark was saying, you know, one of the key aspects of TL's play last split was their ability in the mid and late game to find the right fights and end things smoothly from that point. We're going to take a look at a 4-for-0 in favor of Team Liquid to win the game.
Yeah, you see them try and start off on the Pobelter with what looked like a good engage, but just the nice redemption as well as all the shielding Ryze naturally gets allowed Team Liquid to collapse in time and find that kill. And it was one of those games where it's like, oh, it doesn't look that great for Team Liquid, but then they get 2 kills in the bot lane. Caitlyn starts moving around the map, mowing turrets down. They had like a 4K gold lead in a game where it was 2-2 in kills.
Right. On the side of FlyQuest, I just want to kind of address a freak statement around the relatively tough schedule they've had to kick off the split, but they are sitting at 1-4. And at a certain point, looking at that scoreline, I think there has to be some cause for concern for a team that was in 4th place just last split and largely able to challenge a lot of these squads.
Yeah, I think last split, even though they finished, you know, in 4th, you have to remember they did beat TSM at different points. I think they took a game off Team Liquid as well. So it wasn't like, oh, they were 4th place because they beat everyone below them and lost to everyone above them. They did find good wins in the regular season. So even though it is a tough strength of schedule, it's hard not to be a little disappointed.
Yeah, I would. There is definitely some cause for concern. I was, like I talked about with the mid lane focus, the early game, that does give me hope moving forward. As I also talked about, FlyQuest's schedule gets a lot easier since they've gotten literally all of the more difficult teams out of the way now. If they continue to lose, then you can panic.
All right, fair enough. TL ramping their way back into the summer split. Coming up, though, it's a battle for first place between Optic and Cloud9. If the green walls surge at the start of the split, has you wanting to rep Optic, pick up your team pass in the league client today. The pass will unlock a bunch of team-specific swag. That way you can show your allegiance to allies and opponents alike. We'll see how Optic fares against the team leading the fan pass sales, Cloud9, after this.
Good rune prison gives some space. The flash knockup still going to land though, and the chains afterwards. Do they have the damage? The Price Seeker playing very far from the turret, and suddenly JJ's here. Flashes in, finds some damage and a second kill.
They don't feel that they can actually go for the reset.
Oh, Core spots it, and just alley-oops Doublelift.
Play for the fight. Play for the fight. We're looking for fight. Can we go after? Can we go after?
Yeah.
Here. Riven no push. Riven no push. Riven no push. Riven no push.
Guardian will drop, but now the re-engage impact puts on a ton of damage on a JayJ, and a second kill follows through as well. They're gonna find a third. This is completely Team Liquid, and the rest of the squad coming in with the Realm Warp, but now the backline, you gotta watch out for that one. Not gonna happen though. There are no kills picked up for FlyQuest. It's all Team Liquid all the time.
Welcome back to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. As Optic Gaming looked to wrap up their final push into FlyQuest base, a team fight was brewing. Luckily, Optic's crown knows that sometimes the best assist is to simply dangle your own life at the end of a stick. The tasty-looking Twisted Fate baits the dive from FlyQuest, which ultimately spells their doom. With that victory, Optic Gaming finish off Week 2 of the LCS Summer Split with a 4-0 record, and are the only undefeated squad in North America.
I love this shit. Like, of course it should be here, like every single time. Like, you should be way faster, but it's good to see.
This should have been there for a long time. I want to see CoreJJ's thing.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, he's dead already.
Yeah. If you want to go like crazy, you can do like 4 at once, which is like, you know, it's a lot.
For only $15, guys.
See, you get it.